Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel where today we are discussing how much does it really cost to live in Maryland, and we're getting started right now. Hey everyone, welcome back to Living in Maryland. If that's the kind of information you're looking for, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell to be notified of our weekly new videos where we talk about all things living in Maryland. And if you ever have any specific real estate questions or need anything at all, the number on your screen comes directly to me. Feel free to call, text anytime, and let's jump right into it. Okay, so as most of you can probably guess, Maryland is definitely a little expensive. In some cases, just minutes away from our nation's capital, DC. It's definitely more pricier than most areas, especially if you're coming from the middle of the country. So let's start off with some good news up front. Maryland is the wealthiest state in the USA, with an average household income of $82,000 a year. So my wife was born and raised here in Maryland. We met in college, and I'm actually from Southern California. So when we moved here 6 years ago, coming from Southern California, I was excited. I thought, my money's gonna go a lot further out there. I mean, what's more expensive than Southern California? And unfortunately, it's a lot more comparable than I was hoping for. So let's talk about the most expensive part of living anywhere, right? Is gonna be your housing. So in Maryland, we have all different types of housing. We have condos, townhomes, mainly colonial style townhomes. And then our detached homes range from ranchers and ramblers to colonials, split levels and split foyers. So split foyer is when you walk in and it's stairs immediately, you go up or down. Split level is where you walk into more of an open level concept, and then you still have additional levels above and below you. So in Maryland right now, if you are considering purchasing, the average home sale price is right around $350,000 currently. Although, depending on the location and kind of where you're going within Maryland, that can definitely swing a ton. If you're in Baltimore City, it's going to be, around $175,000. If you're going to be in Montgomery County, depending on, the part, for example, Rockville and Montgomery County, the average home sale price is well over $600,000. So it's going to be very situational depending on the location. So make sure to do a little more research depending on where exactly you're going to be moving in Maryland. The average price per square foot here in Maryland is right around $180, which is going to put your average square footage at around 1880 square feet. Now in Maryland, we do have, a lot of homes have basements, so that's something that you also want to consider as well, depending on what part of the country you're coming from, if you're used to that or not. I wish the listings and the websites had a better way of differentiating between your taxable square footage, which is how the counties out here measure square footage, which is everything except your basement. Although a lot of times on the listings, they're just kind of mushing it together as far as your taxable square footage and then adding on any finished square footage in the basement, which the county does not really count towards the taxable square footage. So that's something you want to just be careful with when you're looking. It may be a little deceiving since it is seller discretion and the agent that's inputting that information. So that's something you want to pay attention to. All right, HOAs. Can you expect to see them? Can you not? If you are in Baltimore City, for example, you're really not going to see a ton of HOAs. It's mainly row homes. You're not going to see a lot of that. But as you expand out into the counties, there's a good chance you are going to see those. If it's a single family home, average HOA ranges in the $50 a month range. So that's what you can expect if you're looking at single family homes, as well as townhomes. They're typically in that same range of $50 a month. If you are considering and open to condos, the average condo fee in most of Central Maryland is around $250 to $350 a month. A lot of times that does not come with a ton of amenities. Sometimes there's a pool. A lot of times it's really covering the master insurance policy, which in most condos is going to cover all exterior maintenance, such as your roof, siding, gutters, all that kind of thing. It's going to cover your trash, a lot of times your water and parking, and that's usually typically about it when it comes to a condo. Montgomery County, though, is kind of a whole separate thing, so you want to be careful with that. The condos in Montgomery County, since it really is more of an extension of the DC market, you can see those condo fees shoot up to $600, $700, $800 a month. So you want to be careful with those. A lot of the ones in Montgomery County are more co-ops, which are a little different than condos. They don't typically use the same kind of financing. So if you're looking in that area, just kind of be careful, because sometimes they don't make the condo monthly fee information super accessible on some of these websites. Okay, so what if you're thinking of renting? You're not ready to buy right away. So what can you expect there? If you are looking at a 2-bedroom home, you're looking probably in the $1,500 to $1,700 a month range is what you can expect there. For a 3-bedroom, it's gonna jump up to right around $2,000 a month. And then if you're looking for a 4-bedroom home, it's gonna be in the $2,200 to $2,500 a month range. Okay, so here's where it starts to get a little more expensive here in Maryland. So let's talk about taxes and what you can expect there. Maryland has a 6% sales tax. So everything you purchase out at the stores, you're looking at 6% that's gonna be tacked on there. If you are going to the liquor store, you're looking at 9% on all alcoholic purchases. Quick little side note, in Maryland, all alcohol is sold in liquor stores. So you're not gonna be able to walk into a Walmart, Costco, Giant, any kind of grocery store and purchase your alcohol. So that was something I learned when I moved out here. I didn't realize that that was the case, because you go down to Virginia and it's different. So something to keep in mind. What about income tax? So income tax is going to range from 2.5% to about 5.75% depending on your income. And then the thing that you also want to know, in addition to state income tax, every single county in Maryland has a local income tax that you pay to the county that you reside in. So for example, I live in Howard County, just north of Montgomery County. Those are two of the most expensive in Maryland, along with, I think, Baltimore City as well, is 3.2% flat on all earned income. That's going to be in addition to your state income tax. A lot of people don't even realize that they're paying it, because if you hire an accountant, you're just paying that along with your state income taxes. And a lot of times you just don't realize. If you do your own taxes, you'll notice, because it has a click down on what county do you live in, and that's how it knows on what to charge you. In other counties, especially on the Eastern Shore and in Western Maryland, you're gonna see that local municipal income tax drop to probably the low 2s. So that's what you can expect there as far as state income tax. What about property tax? So it could be worse. It certainly could be here in Maryland when you compare it to certain areas like Chicago, New York. We definitely don't have it as bad here. So in most of your counties outside of Baltimore City and through Central Maryland, you're looking at about a 1.1 property tax rate. So in most counties outside of Baltimore City and throughout Central Maryland, you're looking at right about 1.1% as far as your property tax rate. In the city of Baltimore, it's much higher. It's about 2.25%. So if you're looking and considering the city, that's something that you definitely want to be aware of. The average purchase price in the city is, does go down when compared to the counties. So a lot of times it doesn't feel as much, just because of the difference in prices, but that is something that you want to be aware of. Now, also something you want to keep in mind, depending on the town or the city that you're looking in, you want to just double check, because certain areas like Columbia, Maryland, Tacoma Park, Frederick, Maryland, these are examples of areas that have their own city tax in addition to your traditional county property taxes. So that's just something that you want to keep in mind depending on where you're at. You always want to double check to see if there's going to be that extra low municipal tax as far as property taxes are concerned. Okay, so if you're considering purchasing a home here in Maryland, let's run through a quick example of what a monthly payment would look like, just so you have an idea of what to expect there. I'm gonna use an example purchase price of $340,000 just to kind of keep it near our average, and then I'm going to use, for the sake of this example, an interest rate of 2.75%. They move around a lot, especially this time of the year and right around an election. So if you have any questions or you want to know where interest rates are at today, feel free to reach out to me and I can let you know about that. So with a purchase price of $340,000, we're going to use an example of 5% down if you're going conventional. Just a side note, you do not have to put 20% down if you're going conventional. I know talking with a lot of buyers, they just have that assumption. Conventional has a ton of different options, as low as 3% down here in Maryland for a first-time buyer, and then 5, 10, 15% down options as well. So if you have any specific questions on financing options, feel free to reach out as well and I can go into more detail about that with you. So a 5% down payment on $340,000 would be $17,000. That would leave us with a loan amount after closing of $323,000. This would put your monthly principal and interest at $1,319 a month. Property taxes, we're gonna estimate at $333 a month. Homeowner's insurance, you should be able to find for an average single family home, townhome, around $1,200 a year, which is gonna be $100 a month. And then I'm estimating here for PMI, private mortgage insurance, which is typically mandated for any loan under 20% down. That protects the bank, and it's an insurance policy to protect the bank against buyer default. We're gonna estimate that at $120 a month, but you're gonna wanna talk to a lender to get better estimates on that depending on your specific loan situation. That's gonna bring your total monthly payment to an estimated $1,872 a month. So that's what you can expect for an average purchase price of $340,000 here in Maryland. Okay, what about cost of utilities? What can you expect there? So let's talk about that. The average electric bill here in Maryland is right around $129 a month. If your family or household is anything like my wife and I, we're always having a thermostat war, right? So typically we end up keeping it right around 70 in the house, and we've found that to be true. The other thing, just a little side note here in Maryland, depending on the age of the home, like I live in a 1960s rancher, so we still have oil for our baseboard heat. So that's something that was with the house when we bought it 5.5 years ago. So that's gonna be an additional cost. That might cost me, depending on the year and cost of where oil is at, around $1,500 to $2,000 a year to fill that. So that's something, most homes, you're not gonna see that as much. It's mainly like natural gas and electricity, but that is something that you want to keep in mind depending on the age of the home. You still do see a decent amount of oil heat around here, so that's something to just keep in mind. Water bill is going to average right around $40 a month here in Maryland. We pay that quarterly, so you don't pay that per month. You're going to see a bill come every 3 months for that. And the average cost that you can expect from internet out here is right around $40 to $60 a month, depending on the speed that you get. In Central Maryland here, we have Fios is pretty much most places, and then Comcast is another option as well. Okay, what about food? Going out to a restaurant, what can you expect there? Your average restaurant here in Central Maryland is gonna have an average entree cost of about $13 to $16. For your typical beers, it's gonna run probably $5 to $7, and then my wife always has to get a skinny drink. The regular ones aren't good enough, right? So you can expect that to be in the $10 to $13 range. So for a couple, you can expect your average restaurant dine out evening to run about $60 to $70 before tip. So that's what I would expect on an average night out. Groceries hopefully shouldn't kill you here in Maryland. We are just about 5.5% above the national average, so hopefully, depending on where you're coming from, that won't be too much of a hit. We have tons of options here in Maryland. Your typical grocery stores, we have our Giant, Safeway, and Weis markets. You're gonna see those all throughout Maryland. And then if you're looking for more organic, we have several options there. Wegmans is an awesome place to go to, and that's kind of fun too. It's kind of got a little bit of a Costco feel. They've got a hot food section where you can go in and get fresh food there and either sit down or take it with you. And then we have more and more Sprouts popping up, and Whole Foods as well if you're looking for those types of options. All right, now let's end with some good news. Healthcare here in Maryland, we are actually 11% below the national average, which is pretty cool. So that's hopefully somewhere where you can actually save some money when you're moving here to Maryland. All right, everyone, thanks for joining me for discussing how much it actually costs to live here in Maryland. Again, if you are interested in all things living in Maryland, make sure to subscribe and check out our weekly new videos. And if you ever have any questions at all, feel free to reach out, and we'll see you at the next video.